Can you just start by telling me who Jeremy was as a person?
A loving, kind, considerate, empathetic to other people, joking. He was a jokester. And he loved his family. He loved us all, especially his kids. But he'll never get to watch grow up. He's got 2 daughters and 2 sons. His 2 sons will never know him. His 2 daughters, he'll never get to see any of his kids graduate. He'll never get to walk his daughters down the aisle when they get married. All the things that they're gonna miss out. All the things that we're gonna get to miss out because he's not here anymore.
Would you say it's not fair?
No, it's not fair. He didn't do the things that guilty man said he did. It wasn't his. He didn't steal their weapons. He didn't shoot up that house. Because the house, the bullets that they pulled out of it are the same exact bullets that they pulled out of my Jeremy and 6 other people's bodies. They matched exactly. So what'd he do? Steal their guns and bring them back to them? So they could commit crimes with them? Unheard of. Makes no sense. None at all.
And can you explain to us the relationship between Jeremy and Mr. Rogers?
Well, they were kind of friends, but after what the president and the vice president of the club done with blowing up that house and doing some other stuff, Jeremy wanted out. Him and Bobby, all of them, they left. They just left the president and the vice president, said, you do what you want to. We're out of this. And they were planning on moving with Tammy, not the other way around. Tammy had offered them a place to stay to get them away from those 2 killers because they weren't doing right. And he told me he had been at the house before he was going. He told me that they were going to move in there. They needed to get away from them before they got them killed. But they killed them instead. Because they left the club. That's what it amounted down to, really, is because they left their club and said, we're not going to put up with this. And so they took their revenge out and went and blew them all up.
And for people who don't know, Tammy, that was whose home it all happened in.
And the law had only been called out there one other time. It was not for drugs or anything else. It was for gunshots because they were back in the backyard firing their guns. And they all had permits for them. That's why there was no arrests made. This one the neighbors had called because she heard consistent gunfire. All of them had their guns. All of them had their permits for them. They were not arrested. It was not illegal. It was just a concern of a neighbor.
Yeah. And just hearing all of these claims being brought against Jeremy, being brought against everybody that you knew, that he knew, how does this make you feel that everything was being told about him and he can't be there to defend himself?
Angry. He has no voice. They took it away from him. And now they're trying to blame him for it? Angry. That's not how that went. They lied. That one that they just found guilty of lied in his videotaped deposition. He lied about Jeremy and them was involved. He was blaming what he and his co-conspirator were being accused of. Well, what they done, he blamed it on the other ones. Everybody else that he could blame it on. But it wasn't those people that did it. It was him and his co-conspirator that did it. But those people aren't here because they took their voices away. They can't tell, no, I didn't. You did. That's why we left the club. That's why we left you stranded.
That's a powerful statement, that their voices were taken away. Sitting through this trial, reliving everything that you had to go through, how has this been for you?
Horrific. I'm sick. I haven't been eating since the trial started. And after seeing what's going on, it's hard to come up here. I'm tired of hearing the lies. Tired of hearing them blame everybody else for their misdeeds. And they can't say nothing about it.
And hearing the guilty verdict, did you hear that or did you just see it online? How did you come about
No,
hearing the guilty verdict?
Saying a person up here texted me and told me what the verdict was.
Okay. And what was your reaction to this?
Happy and sad. Happy that they got the verdict. Sad that they'll never be back. It doesn't bring any of them back. And their families, my family, what we're having to go through this. And they get to speak and tell lies against people that are dead that can't speak up for themselves. It's degrading. So degrading. It's humiliating. But I just want people to know that most of that testimony where he was blaming everybody else is a lie. He was blaming them for his and his co-conspirators' actions. But they're not here where they can speak up to tell people, no, I didn't do that. They did. He took their voices away.
And now, with this next phase, this sentencing phase, what do you hope happens to Mr. Rogers?
I hope he gets the death penalty. It's what he deserves. He took the lives of 7 people and a dog. He deserves death. If anybody does, him and his co-conspirator do. They took the lives of 7 people and a dog.
It's terrible. And your family, how are you all holding up? I know we kind of focused in on you a little bit, but his mother, his children, how is everybody handling this?
We're all seeing psychiatrists. We're all in therapy. And we've been in it for years. And we're still trying. But it makes no sense when you're trying to make sense of something that makes no sense. Your brain just can't wrap around. It can't understand something that you don't even understand. How senseless it was to take those lives. How senseless. I mean, a 17-year-old, an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, 21-year-old, a 22-year-old, 31-year-old, and a 45-year-old. That's way too young. 5 of them were 22 and under. Way too young. 31-year-old. Way too young. 45-year-old. Too young. It was senseless. I'm trying to make sense of it, and you can't make sense of something that's senseless.
Is there anything else you want to say that you don't think we've touched on that you think would be beneficial for us for the story?
I think I've touched. That's it.